We are committed in being the single tool that all you folks listening to will use to collaborate across teams to drive conversion and decrease time spent. And really what that means is anything from technical to marketing to analytics to customer experience and UI UX, all of that. Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Ecommerce Toolbox Expert's Perspective. This is going to be a unique episode. So this episode is going to be just me. And you're probably wondering why. And it's not because we couldn't source a guest in time, actually. We're pretty backlogged right now. It's more because we want to talk to you all about something really, really interesting. So Noibu, as you know it, is not the same Noibu that we are going to be. So what really that means is most of you out there think of us as an error monitoring solution, right? So most of you customers or prospects are like, hey, it's kind of the checkout guys, right? Maybe there's bugs in my checkout, conversion, revenue, checkout. We were the innovators of that space. We built the category. So I'll take you guys a bit down a memory lane if you're curious. The original problem that we discovered in 2019 was e-commerce teams, especially those with development agencies, had very little visibility in a way that they understood into technical issues impacting their conversion. And how did we know this? Well, we knew this because if you catch the e-com manager on the wrong day, they'll talk to you about how they spent their morning chasing some bug that customer service told them was on the website. So we really began an extreme focus on identifying and quantifying revenue impact storefront issues. Anything from checkout to your website not showing an add to cart button or anything in that realm. The goal is very simple. We wanted teams to not lose any revenue due to negative technical experiences. So that was our point solution, and that worked really well for a long time. So that was our tremendous growth was built on the back of that through the kind of COVID era. And the point solution was the right move at that point. And why was that? Well, because a lot of digital teams were getting way more budget than they'd ever seen before. So they were focusing on best of breed solutions. And that's what you guys wanted. So we talked to our customer, and all really they wanted was better and more accurate prioritization and more errors. So that was the lifeline of our business for years. And that's what our customers loved and were happy with. A lot's changed. Obviously, a lot's changed since COVID, and a lot's changed in the last couple of years. And it's not just about site errors. A lot of our customers are under financial pressure to consolidate tools. Also, the landscape has changed. A lot of tools are building different features that are all starting to look the same. And at the end of the day, our customers were starting to tell us in late 2022, really in 2023, and definitely in 2024, that errors were not enough. It was not enough to justify a solution. And they actually were really happy with it, but they wanted more from us. They wanted digital experience. They wanted heat mapping. They wanted scroll mapping, click mapping, journeys, analytics. So that kind of sent us down the path of investigating what this actually meant. So it took us a little while to fully research, but we came to the conclusion that monitoring alone isn't enough. Obviously, we spent a lot of our R&D efforts completing the monitoring capabilities in the last couple of years. So with our release of Performance, so Core Vitals, we also built in some logging, and we built that all under the Noibu kind of guidelines, which is like, hey, what is it? I need to understand it in clear English. What's the impact? What do I do to actually rectify it? And really in 2024 and definitely in 2025, we realized that going from a error monitoring to a monitoring solution wasn't the end of what our customers wanted. So you guys wanted more, we delivered more, but it turns out at the end of the day, really what the market was demanding was a all-in-one solution that carries together multiple categories. And those categories stem from monitoring, which is front-end monitoring, logging, performance, to heat mapping, so journeys, custom journeys, heat maps, analytics, end-to-end journeys, and then finally analytics. And where we are on our journey now is taking what we learned and our principles from what we had initially built in error monitoring, we applied it to monitoring, and we've now applied it to digital experience, and now we're going down the path of applying it to analytics, all under building a single tool for all the different personas on your team, from merchandising to UX to ecom to technical to customer service and VOC. We want all of these people working out of a single pane of glass, because that is what we are consistently hearing from our executive contacts, to decrease the total cost of ownership of running ecom while increasing alignment and actual results on the team. And I'm going to talk a bit deeper as to what that means. But from a high level, the market pulled us from error monitoring to monitoring. And now it is pulling us into what we're calling e-commerce analytics and monitoring, which is the amalgamation of the three categories that I just mentioned. It's the same principles as when we went from error monitoring to monitoring. Fragmentation was hurting teams. Some people were using an APM to look at logs. Other people were using a specialized tool to look at core web vitals. Some people were looking at session replay in a different tool. And it was really, really hard to triangulate on what the most important thing was at any given time for the business and have a single source of truth where you weren't looking at conflicting data. And what I mean by that is, hey, if your conversion tanks, well, you have different areas that you could look. You could look on the technical side for errors. You could look at performance. You could look at ads. You could look at your analytics. You could look at your heat maps. And you're often flipping between different tools that don't really integrate or understand what the other one is seeing. And they work if it's a silver bullet. And what I mean by that is if your conversion drops and it's because an error got released, or if it's because your website went from 2 to 4 seconds, like that's very clear. But in my experience and what our customers were telling us is the answers are often a lot more nuanced than that. And it's not like you're not going to find a single bullet, like a single magic bullet. Maybe you will time to time, but in aggregate, you will not. And we saw the consolidation. Engineering teams and product teams started to get consolidated. UX sometimes goes into product, sometimes into marketing. And we started seeing the evolution of the CDTO or the CDO. And the CDO owns marketing and technology, especially in mid-market brands that are platformed. So we saw that shift. Teams were getting leaner, teams were getting consolidated, and how they worked was changing. The days of having an engineering team work out of an APM, your customer service team working out of a session replay tool, having your VOC team working out of a tool that may also have session replay, but just collect surveys, having a performance team looking at specialized performance tooling, and then having digital experience teams looking at heat maps. And all these tools are different. Those days are done, in my opinion. And what our customers are craving, especially the ones in our ICP, is they want a single tool to work seamlessly on their platform, and they want it spread across multiple teams, from engineering to product to marketing to customer service to their agency. And they want everybody singing from the song sheet. And the reason for that is because attention and prioritization matters. And really getting signal from these tools is important. And it's hard when they're missing context from other tools. And this starts to compound more and more when we talk a bit about AI.
If you're listening to the e-commerce toolbox, you're entitled to a podcast-exclusive website audit. Go to noibu.com/podcast-audit for a free scan that uncovers the hidden friction blocking your conversions and shows you where you're leaking revenue.
I'll talk a bit about where we think AI is going and where we intend on playing in that market. But I want to make sure this is super clear. Noibu as an error monitoring company is dead. It's gone. It's never coming back. It's a part of our history. It's a part of my history and a big part of my life that we are moving on from. And we're not abandoning investing in that. We still think it's super critical. It's the base of the pyramid, but it's not the full pyramid. And what that means is that we are committed in being the single tool that all you folks listening to will use to collaborate across teams to drive conversion and decrease time spent. And really what that means is anything from technical to marketing to analytics to customer experience and UI UX, all of that. And I know what some of you guys are thinking, like, hey, can't be everything to everyone. And I agree. And all of our competitors are horizontal, which means they have a lot of different features. But what's really nice about commerce is we focus on a single persona. And not a single persona within a commerce team, but a single persona in the context of commerce. So we spend a lot of time with commerce teams, omni-channel, D2C teams. We understand what keeps you up at night. And we know that you don't want a tool with 1,000 features. You want to solve your problems, drive revenue, decrease costs. What's good for us and bad for our competition is that we're not everything to everyone. We are built purpose for commerce. We will continue to be purposely built for commerce. And we think in the age of AI that is actually going to be more important. Let's be clear. What's everyone striving towards? Everyone's striving towards some sort of ChatGPT-esque interface where you can effectively co-work and collaborate on marketing strategies or understand why your performance is up or down. Like all of that is super clear. I don't think that's revolutionary to anyone. And I don't genuinely believe that's going to be solved horizontally. And I think it's really hard when you're attention splitting, and mainly because it's a data problem. Everyone's using the same foundational models. That's not a big surprise. Some people are fine-tuning them. That's fine. But really, the value is in the data structure, the integrations, the workflows. And that's where we're super committed. And that's why we think we have the right to win. And that's why we think we are winning. And like I mentioned before, I want to be very clear that we are abandoning the error standalone solution. And we are heavily committed into owning the complete analytics stack, from digital experience to errors to performance to analytics as a whole. And we are very excited. We have our AI products coming out in Q1 of this year. We have some, but we're doing a big release. And our roadmap this year is heavily focused on that. So if you're an e-com merchant that's listening, whether you're a Noibu customer or not, take a look at our product. We're not talking about things that are in the roadmap and years away. A lot of what I'm talking about is already in the product, being used, and getting some great adoption. And I wanted to have this conversation really to say to the market, we're here, we're very serious, we're winning, we're going to continue winning, and we are going to own this space. And we will be by far the best solution for this space. And we can see in commerce, when the category is big enough, vertical solutions always win. When you look at email marketing, when you look at reviews, you can name the 1 to 2 players, and those players are only in commerce. There's a reason why Klaviyo beat out MailChimp, and we plan to take advantage of the same synergies. It's where we are putting our time, focus, and attention. And if you're in commerce, then you need to know our name, and you need to understand that if you are going to use our software, you will not only decrease your licensing costs because you don't have to pay for session replay on your APM and then session replay on your digital experience tool. You don't have to have heated conversations. Maybe they'll still be heated, but for different reasons between product engineering. You don't need to negotiate. You don't need to build manual business cases. Everything will just be there and it'll just work. And that's where I think commerce, people that have leaned into that strategy are winning. And the ones that aren't are now starting to realize that that is the winning strategy. And yeah, that's it. I really wanted to be super clear to you folks that we're here to win. If you're in commerce and you either use an analytics platform, a digital experience, or an APM, or like a error monitoring tool, all of them or any of them, you should definitely check us out. And I mean that super clearly and genuinely, that we have the best tools and we will continue to innovate. And we're super excited and we're very grateful to have this opportunity. So yeah, always DM me on LinkedIn. I'm super active. Let me know if you guys have any questions, but appreciate the listeners.
The e-commerce toolbox Expert Perspectives is brought to you by Noibu. To find out more about Noibu and how we can help you debug your e-commerce site and rocket your revenue, visit www.noibu.com. That's Noibu.com. And then make sure to search for the e-commerce toolbox Expert Perspectives on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and click subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Noibu, thanks for listening.